The sharpest edges I've ever seen, and every time my hands get careless, you make me bleed. I'm caught up, down, and in between, 'cause you got the sharpest edges I've ever seen. Don't hurt me.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's Blade Love, and we are doing the wrap-up of the Broken Feather Palooza, and we are here with Paul Macarone. And here is a lot of beautiful, beautiful knives that Paul has right here. Paul, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Well, I'm Paul Macarone. In the knife throwing world, I go by Big Mac.
Okay.
Nickname that has stuck over the years. I'm from upstate New York, originally from a little town called Canastota, and I now live just outside of Ithaca, New York with my wife and our 2 dogs.
Oh, very cool. And what got you into all of this?
Well, I've been throwing knives. A lot of people ask me, when did you start throwing a knife, or why? How did this happen? And the answer I always give is that my father gave me a pocket knife when I was about 8 years old, and the first thing that I did was start throwing it. And nobody knows why or the reason, but probably just something, genetic in my DNA said throw this. And so I started throwing my pocket knives, and I would stick them into trees and into the ground. And there was a game that some of the older folks in your audience might remember called Stretch.
Yes.
Where you would play with another person opposing and throw the knife and stick it into the ground next to their feet and try to get them to have to spread their legs to the point where they couldn't go any further. And I actually used to play that with my mother.
Oh, wow. So this is a childhood-driven hobby
Right.
and love.
Yes, it has been something I've done since I was old enough to hold a knife and use it responsibly. Competition-wise, I got into black powder shooting in the late 80s and early 90s, and at Black Powder Mountain Man shoots, they do some very basic knife and tomahawk throwing. It's all just one spin, one revolution, and basically you try to cut playing cards is the goal. We were doing some Mountain Man over here today that you might have seen. And I did that for a number of years, but was still at that point unaware that there were actual competitions strictly geared towards knife throwing. And it was with my beginning the use of the internet that I learned that there were actual weekend-long competitions dedicated strictly to knife and tomahawk throwing. And this is my first event that I ever went to, is right here on this premise. Joe invited me. I had made contact with Joe in 2011 and asked me if I wanted to come down for the throw in 2012. So my very first all throwing event was right here at Broken Feather in 2012. And I did okay, but I didn't win anything. And I saw how well some of the people could throw, and I said, well, I'm gonna have to train harder and see what I can do. And so I went home and I started practicing, and the following year I went to my first ICTOF World Championship in Blanco, Texas, and I had a respectable showing, but I still didn't win a podium place. And I said, I'm going to give it one more year, and I went back to work training. And the very following year, in 2014, I won my first Fast Draw World Championship there. And since then, I've been actively training, practicing, and traveling around the United States, Canada, and even Europe and the world to compete in these competitions. And it's been a wonderful experience meeting all the people, and I've achieved far more than I ever really thought I would possibly achieve. 8 world championship titles, and people are, if you're in the knife throwing community, I'm known around the world, you know, which is nice. And I have friends now on Facebook from far corners of the world. It's been a great experience, and I'm proud to stand on the line with the other greats in the knife throwing world.
That is awesome, Paul. Thank you so much for sharing
You're
your
very
life
welcome.
and your history. This has truly been an awesome event, and meeting such great and wonderful people like yourself. It's been an honor and a privilege.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So, Joe, this was an awesome weekend, and we're wrapping up. So, any last thoughts for the...
Well, this is always a day you hate to have happen because a lot of people start leaving on Sunday. There'll be a few stragglers tomorrow, but it's like the parting is such sweet sorrow type of thing where, you know, people are heading home. We've got people heading back to Texas, Missouri, California, Florida. My friends left for Sweden today. You know, you hate to see them go because you only see them at these events every year. And
Right.
my friend Tracy over here, she's got to get back home to Georgia, but first she's going to visit where she's from up in upstate New York.
Oh, very
And
cool.
it's always a good time, but you know, you hate to see everybody go. But the other side of that coin is we get the chance to relax finally because it's a lot of work. People do not realize, you know, I go out and buy log rounds. I got a friend out in Lebanon that he cuts down a whole tree for me and then cuts log rounds, and they're expensive, but it's all worth it. It really is, because we have a blast and we get to see all our friends.
Yeah, and I really just want to take the time to thank you again for inviting Mrs. Blade and I to Broken Feather Palooza this year.
Absolutely our pleasure. I'm so glad you could come. I know you got a couple good interviews in there.
Oh, we got
and
more than a couple. I got a lot of pictures and a lot of interviews to process,
That's
my
great.
friend.
Well, you're going to have to come back down, and we'll throw some knives. We'll get you out here throwing, and next year you might be up here competing. You never know, because you can certainly do it from sitting there.
That works for me.
I've thrown. I actually had a good friend of mine. He owned a martial arts school in Alabama, and his father was in a wheelchair, and I had a throw off with him where I was sitting in a chair to throw against him, and he beat me. I have a picture of it on my phone. It's one of my favorite pictures. His dad was a good friend of mine, and it's just a good time. I don't know much more to say, but you know, we call this our family reunion, where a little knife throwing breaks out.
And that's exactly what I've experienced. It was a beautiful weekend. We couldn't have imagined to spend it with more beautiful people. The community was awesome and welcoming. Everybody has been fantastic. I wanted to also thank you for the knife and all of the things that you gave us, the swag and the patches and everything. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely our pleasure, and we hope to see you here every year and just keep coming back. And as we say in the knife throwing world, stick with it.
All right, bro. All right, you take care, and we will see you next year. Actually, Mrs. Blade and I intend to see you before next year, because we intend to come over for an impromptu learn how throwing of axes and knives.
You're welcome anytime. We throw tomahawks. This is not an axe house. We throw tomahawks here, but you know, people are certainly welcome to throw the one-piece all-steel axes that some places allow you to throw. If you go to an actual mountain man event, you have to throw an actual tomahawk. You're not allowed to throw a one-piece all-steel axe.
Okay.
Your knives have to be sharp. They have to have live edge. They have to have period correct from the mid 1800s handles, leather,
Wow.
wood, bone, antler, horn. And some of those throws, it's like if you show up with tennis sneakers, they'll kick you out.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be period correct. And
Cool.
that's why when we started to throw down inside the Alamo, you know, you had to be in period correct dress. And
Cool.
your knives and hawks had to be period correct.
Nice. Yeah, because this gets serious depending on what competition you're in. It starts, you know, it's interesting because this part of the knife community has been unfamiliar to me until now. You know, as you know, I'm more of a collector and aficionado of knives, as my people know too. And the thought of throwing a knife freaked me out at first, but then I tried it and I was like, oh, wait a second, this is kind of addictive. So now I'm looking forward to doing it.
Yeah, we call them thunk addicts because the first time you throw that knife and it thunks into that target, we got you. You're hooked.
You got the sharpest edges I've